Hello everyone, this is Matt from BreakpointTrades.com. In this video, I'm going to briefly discuss these custom Renko charts that I recently showed in a couple of my newsletters and on the trading community blog. As some of you know, I stated that I would freely share my chart settings and give you a few of these indicators that I have. And that's what I'm doing. I'm making a brief video on that. Show you what I look for, and also show you how to install these indicators. Obviously, you have to have a TradeStation account. If you don't have a TradeStation account, this isn't going to work for you. Now, if you wanted to open a TradeStation account, let me know. I know someone at TradeStation who I like to refer people to. But that's not what this is about. This is about if you already have TradeStation, and I'm sharing these chart settings with you. A couple things. Again, I like to call these Renko charts deceptively simple, and what I mean by that is they are sort of deceptive. They're deceptive in that they really make things look clean. I mean, look at these beautiful signals. There's not a lot of chop, so they really clean up a lot of the noise. That's good and bad. Okay, both good and bad. It's good because you can really see signals really easily. It can be bad at times because, again, you are filtering out noise that can be useful. Okay, there's no holy grail here. You have to find something that works. You got to do a lot of practice, etc. And again, how I typically like to use these are I'm looking at the trend. I like to use these moving average configurations, which, as you know, I show in a lot of my newsletters. One of my favorite examples is when the moving averages flip here, and then you get your first pullback. I like buying this first pullback. I wait for a reversal bar, so I would buy this bar. Again, I'll get into that, but a good handful of you wrote in, and I'm making this video for you. You obviously need to install let's pull that up. In the email, I've included a TradeStation ELD. That's code. You basically just install it into TradeStation, and I'm going to include a couple workspaces for you. Okay. So I guess without further ado, let's just go ahead and get started here. So let's go to TradeStation. And again, guys, one thing I suggest, if you look here, I suggest before you try to trade these, I strongly recommend that you do it in Sim. Notice I have my account in Sim. So Sim is where you can practice intraday. Okay, you can practice trading. It's obviously not going to be real money. Now, in the long term, Sim will only get you so far. There's emotions that come with trading, with real money that you have to experience. It's a whole new level, obviously. Again, trading is a big mental game. It's not just about having good indicators and a good system. You got to be able to handle your emotions. But you need to practice for quite a long time in Sim. My suggestion is to practice trading in Sim for a good month, maybe even 2 months, where you're consistently profitable. Not winning every trade, maybe not even winning every day, but where you could trade for a whole week in Sim every day and you made money. For the whole week, and you made money. Because before you turn this on live, you want to have it down. Okay. And what I'm going to show you here is just one thing I look at, but there's a lot of ways to skin the cat, a lot of different ways you could come up with, and I hope some of you guys come up with some new things that you can share with me. Okay. Again, I strongly recommend you trade in Sim. It'll also allow you to get used to using this your order entry here. The simple matrix where you can put buy stops and sell stops. Now it's a Saturday, so I'm not able to show you live orders, obviously. That's one thing that does suck about TradeStation that I liked over, say, NinjaTrader. NinjaTrader, you can download data and you can actually play the day back at any speed you want and actually enter orders as they would have appeared. NinjaTrader is a great way to practice your trading. On a weekend you can download the previous week and go replay it, 4 or 5 times speed, so you don't have to sit there for hours at a time, and just really get a good practice. So NinjaTrader is great with that. I don't know why TradeStation has never implemented a replay function like that, but I digress. We're not here about NinjaTrader. We're here about TradeStation. Again, learn to use these order entries. Hopefully, you guys are at least familiar with that. One contract, or you could do 2 contracts, and you could do something like this. Now, what this means, OSO, is you can see how it says 1-1. Whenever I place an order, it's automatically going to put a sell stop. Let's say I go long, it's automatically going to put a sell stop and a profit target in at the same time that you can then move around on a chart. I think that's kind of important because let's say you entered a trade, you want to make sure a stop's in place, because what if your power all of a sudden goes out? You got a live contract on. That's where you actually want a stop order to be submitted automatically, even if it's wide. You don't expect it to be hit right away. Make sure to use this. If you don't have OSO order, what's going to happen is you're going to have a live order out here, and you could say, well, I'm just going to manually do a stop out or whatever, and that's fine. But remember, if your internet went out, you could have a live contract that you got to call TradeStation and figure out how to exit. And by then price can move around a lot. So again, as far as installing, download it from your email, go to File. Well, it depends on how your computer's set up. The way my computer's set up, I can actually just double click on the ELD, and it's going to say, it's going to give me these, and it's just going to say next, and it's pretty easy. Depending on how your computer's set up, you might have to go and click File, Import, Easy Language, select this one, import ELD, and then go to Next, and then use your Browse button to find the file. Okay, you may have to do that depending on how your windows are set up. Okay, or you may be able to double click it. It really kind of just depends. Okay, so install the file, and then I included 2 workspaces. Now, one issue with the workspaces, guys, that I didn't realize, I'm on a sort of a developer version of TradeStation. So if I go to TradeStation, I go to Help, About TradeStation. I'm on version, where is this? Update 28. So for 9.5, I think TradeStation 9.5 is officially on version 27. And the way TradeStation works is that you're not able to, if you have a previous version, you're not going to be able to open my workspaces. So unfortunately, you're going to probably have to get version update 28 of TradeStation. Now, that's not difficult. You can log into the website and sign up for the developer, and they'll give it to you. I apologize for that. I don't have update 27 here. So anyway, so looking at the charts here, these Renko charts, so if you look here, format symbol, wait for this to pull up. My computer needs rebooted anyway, but so here, this one here is set on a one box. That's 1 point. You can see it's custom. You can see Renko has 3 versions. Again, on TradeStation, you just only have the classic version. So I have this as a 1 point box size. Remember, ES futures move in ticks. Each tick is a 1/4 point, and so in 1 point value, there's actually 4 ticks there. So I'm using a 1 point and a 0.25 offset. Okay, so that means that each box here is 1 point or 4 ticks. This is something you may need to adjust as market volatility changes. So if market's having really big swings, you may need to make this bigger. Okay, again, that's just something you have to see on the chart yourself. I tend to use either a 1 to 1.25, or I might use a 1.25 and this. It kind of depends however the market looks, you know what I mean? It just really depends on, if you're getting too much noise, you may need to go to a bigger box size if you're getting too much range in the market. So that should be fairly self-explanatory. As far as the contract, right now, just for simplicity, I'm showing you ES.D. So that's the version that trades only during the day. You may want to switch that to just a simple ES Z18. That would be the continuous where it's trading overnight, etc. So again, pretty simple. You can see your box sizes. They're 1 point. They're offset by a quarter point. That's how I have them set. So for example, each of these, for example, closes at, this is 2601.50, the next one 2601.25, 2601, 2675. Again, they're offset by 0.12. And that's a good thing, guys, because that tells you exactly where the next candle will open or close and what is needed to break that candle. This is a nifty little indicator here that we wrote. You can see it. Notice how there's two levels here. So what this means is if it opens here, price goes to here, 2602.50, that means this is going to create a new up Renko bar. That's very useful because on this order matrix, let's say I thought, if I'm looking for a reversal bar, a green bar, I know exactly where to place my buy stop. Would be on here. This, of course, would be where price would need to go, 2600, to create the next down bar. So that's a very actually useful indicator we made. That's not in TradeStation. It's called BPT Renko Bar prices. So kind of like I show you in the newsletter. Again, I like to do this very simple. I like to just follow trend. I have my set of moving averages on here. You can see which are simply this is the 9 EMA, that's the 20, that's the 34, and the 50. And I have them on here. Now I don't know why I don't have them the same price or the same color, but that's something you can change on your own. I use these moving averages as sort of like a wave and to see where if they're bullishly stacked or not. These are a couple, so these moving averages are the same on here, even though I'm not necessarily using the same color, guys. Okay, so this set is the same as what's on here. This here is the 200-day moving average, 200 simple moving average. You can see you can change it. The color is the slope. So you can see that it's down sloping, and you can see when it's green, it's up sloping. So that's why the color changes. It's green when it's up sloping, it's red when it's down sloping. These other indicators, BP, BR squeeze, it's sort of like trending type indicator. You'll see divergence on it, but again, when it's below zero, that's an area. And whenever it tends to test the zero area, it can be areas where you'll fail. Like here, that's a resistance. Notice how this tends to correspond with this. This is a simple MACD, and that's also a MACD histogram. Okay, so again, pretty simple how I like to use it. Let me go back more to the beginning of the day. So you can see your time here. What is this? 9:38 a.m. That is Central Standard Time, by the way. So you can see we're downtrending. All the moving averages are bearishly stacked. Price bottoms. You get a price move up here. It goes over these moving averages. You see that? What you see here. So your 9 EMA flips over all those. You're bullishly stacked. Then you start pulling back. Now when you pull them back here, you don't know if it's going to continue down or not. But what I'm watching for to see if I get some sort of reversal here. So the 9 EMA comes into these moving averages. Notice they're all pinching together. You can see them on here. So when it's doing this, I'll look for a buy signal because we flipped positive and I'll look to buy that first pullback and reversal. I'm not buying the down bar, I'm buying the first up bar. And again, that's where that one indicator comes in useful that I just showed on the side here, the BPT Renko bar, because I know what price will cause an up bar, and I'll have it, instead of waiting for it to flip, I'll have my buy stop waiting on the matrix. Because let's say it's downtrending here, let's say we got a down bar here, I'll know that a price of 26, 25, 75, or say what is this, 26, 25, 50 would cause an up bar. I'll know that, and so I'll have it pre-ready as a buy stop. Again, many times what you'll find is you'll have your buy stop ready, but price will continue to go down. Moving average will go negative, and this condition will go away, and you'll simply cancel the order. So there's a lot of times like that when you're placing an order and it's not filled, and you simply cancel it. So this is a trade I would look to buy right here, and you can see it gave a nice trade. Each move up is basically one tick. So if you entered here at 26, 25, 50, here you made one tick. Remember, these are all set by a quarter point or one tick. Here you made one tick, two tick, three tick, four tick, five tick, six tick, seven tick, etc. Where you sell is a bit of a, that's a bit of a, what you call where the art comes in. You just have to figure out where to sell. Some people like to sell 7 ticks or 10 ticks. Some people like to wait for a reversal. Again, you wait for a reversal, you're going to give up a lot. So for example, up here, price is 26, 30, 75. If you waited till this reversal bar, you're giving back a couple points. So anyway, one thing you might be able to do is a combination where you buy a couple contracts and you take one off, 7 or 10 ticks later, and then you take the next one off at a reversal. Really just depends. This is why on this chart I also have, say, a 1 minute chart. You can have a 1 minute, 5 minute, whatever. I'll tend to look at this standard candlestick chart too as a guide, because remember, these Renko charts, they filter out a lot of noise, but you may want to see it may filter out good noise. You may want to look at some of these charts more of as a guide. Okay, here you get a beautiful trade. Again, that made you quite a bit of money just on one contract. Most of the time I won't buy something like this. To me, I want to see more of a pullback. Now this here would have been an acceptable entry where the 9 EMA at least came to these other moving averages. It didn't pinch as much as this one. You see that? This really pinched together. That was a great signal. Moving average went positive. You look to buy a pullback. Moving averages pinched together, and you got your reversal here for a nice trade. Let me move those apart. This one here was a nice trade too. They didn't pinch together as much. Basically the 9 EMA came to the other ones, and then you rallied off. And that brings a point, guys. You'll see little patterns here that, like here, notice you pull back here, you had a reversal bar up, and then a pull back again. That's sort of like an ABC. So this was a trade, but look, it gave you basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 ticks. So again, 13 ticks. Would have been $162 if you managed to catch that whole move, which you probably wouldn't. Price came down, and then you could see. Notice how the price came down on the moving averages here. You may have been looking, hey, is it going to reverse again? But if you had placed a buy stop order, you never would have been filled here, because you'd see what happened is price then just continued lower, and they flipped. Oh. So let me just go through this. So this here was a no trade really. They went negative, you reversed up, then they went negative again. So I tend, again, I tend on these, I tend to try just to take the best setups. Now this ended up being a great short. If you look here, this obviously would have been a good short, but again, this went negative, so you probably wouldn't have taken it. This went, moving averages went bearishly stacked here. Notice that. price rallied up here. Now the 9 EMA went right to here. You may or may not have taken this. If you did, you could have stopped out here. Or if you put a wide stop, you may not have stopped out. See that? This is your 200-day moving average. You can see how it went negative, so that was good. You could see you're downtrending. But notice how this sort of ABC'd up. You went up, pulled back, bounced. This was obviously a really good short. Notice how these indicators, this was up right near the zero. This MACD was below zero. This MACD histogram tested the underside. So this ended up being a great short. So again, that's kind of what I look at, guys. I just kind of look at these moving average configuration. Again, where the art comes in, you have to just sort of figure out trades to ignore, stuff like that. That's why I stated you really want to play around with these for a while, see what maybe works for you, and don't trade with real money for a long time. Trade with sim. Okay, use some of these other charts to try to filter out signals, etc. And if the market's moving too fast, like I stated, let's see if I think I got one here. Here's the here's a 1.25 to 1. So this is each range here is a $1.25 or 1.25 point versus 1. So there's going to be there's going to be less trades here, less noise. But here's that first trade we looked at, for example. Here's that first trade we looked at, remember? In the morning, 9:45, moving averages is flipped, then you got your first pullback. Here's on the 1.25 chart, so you have an extra tick. Notice how it's much tighter here, which makes sense. But you had the same trade setup basically. Okay. And this one you could see here where you just get a pullback and then you get a bounce, whereas here you had that extra thing. So again, guys, it's not perfect. You got to kind of, again, just like trading, it's sort of an art. You have to figure out kind of what works for you, figure out an edge. But I figured I would share with you. Again, probably my favorite trade in these is that first, when the moving averages first flip and you get your first pullback. That's probably my favorite trade. Again, there's a lot of ways to skin the cat. Like I said, I know some people will do these things where they'll jump on a momentum trade. After it's already flipped, they may, you just have to figure out what works for you. Again, where I'll tend to go to the larger chart here, this $1.25 chart, is if there's too much noise here, this will filter it out a little bit. You can get a lot of trades with these. My suggestion would be at first to try to pick only the best setups, and that means you may only have a handful a day. Maybe you pick only the ones that have the tightest pinching together instead of trying to catch every little wiggle. So that's it. I mean, I can go into this all day. I said I would share a couple of my workspaces. That's what I'm doing. I've also shared the indicators, which, my indicators provide this nifty thing which shows you where the reversals occur. It gives you these moving average configuration. It gives you, these indicators as well. Okay. Talk to you later, and hope you have fun. You can give me some feedback, obviously. Again, I'm not giving you guys a full-fledged system. I'm just giving you a guide, something you could use if you want to play around. Again, this is obviously something you would use only if you're able to day trade. If you're working a day job, I wouldn't mess with this, guys, because this is something you pretty much got to focus on. Okay. All right. Talk to you later. Have a good day. Thanks.